Hello, this is the Chapter 7, Section 4 video. You should have your textbook open to pages 248 to 254. This section is about classifying organisms. This is your second reminder that your Chapter 7 test will be on October 2nd. And recording today is myself, Mrs. Erling, Mrs. Kim, and Mr. Knox.
The word classification means grouping things based on their similarities. And why do scientists do this? Because there's so many different organisms. It would be really impossible unless they put them into groups. Remember that there are more than 1.7 million species that they even know of right now, and so they need to organize it to make it easier to study. Imagine going to the market and trying to find what you need if things were not organized in different sections. Okay, so the major levels of classification are kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Actually, the textbook mentions domain. The domain would be broader or bigger than the kingdom, so it would go somewhere up here. And a good way to help you remember is think of a mnemonic device. Remember there's a D, domain, up here. I can't get my... So Dopey, King, Philip came over for great spaghetti or grape soda. Okay? And as you get down lower and lower, it gets more and more specific. And the more levels they share, the more they have in common.
As Mrs. Kim said, the lower you get on this classification chart, the more specific the animal is. So if you look here, we've classified grizzly bears. Okay? And this is an example of a classification for grizzly bears. But the top one, remember, is the domain. So grizzly bears would be in the domain Eukarya, which means the bear's cells have a membrane-covered organelle. Their DNA is all wrapped in a nucleus. So the domain up here would be Eukarya. Then we got to the kingdom Mammalia. All these animals you see right here are animals. We have insects, fish, black bears, and grizzly bears. Then as we go down the levels of classification, we get more and more specific. These organisms are more and more similar. For example, we got the phylum Chordata. This means they all have backbones. If you look here, the insect does not have a backbone, so it is bumped out of this phylum. As we move down, we got class Mammalia. These animals give their young milk, and you see the bird, the snake, and the fish were kicked out of there. You got the order carnivore, basically a carnivore. These animals eat meat. Then you got the family Ursidid, I believe that is, which are basically bears. This is the bear family, okay, which includes panda bears, black bears, as well as grizzly bears. And as we move down, it gets more and more specific. You got the genus, which includes black bears and grizzly bears, and finally the species, which only has one organism, which is the grizzly bear. Right. Yes.
And you know that scientists like to give scientific names to all organisms so that they can communicate with scientists from other places. And the two-part scientific name are these two groups right here. The first name is a genus, and the second name is a species. And so they are very specific when they want to mention a certain organism.
That way you can find it out throughout, no matter what country you're in, what language you speak, you can always tell what animal they're talking about.
That's right. Okay.